So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar for the University of London's Bachelor of Science in Marketing program with Coursera. My name is Ankit. I'm an enrollment counselor here at Coursera. Joining me today is Matthew, a fellow enrollment counselor who will be answering your questions in the Q&A box. And we'll have Naomi from Coursera Marketing helping behind the scenes. In today's webinar, we have the honor to welcome Rae Roberts from the University of London, who will be helping us understand the career services and support our learners receive. We'll deep dive into a Q&A session with Rae to answer a few questions, which will be more focused on the career and shall help the learners understand how the university helps in their career aspirations as well. In the following session, we will be looking at the general overview of bachelor's and the university, study format and Coursera platform, admission requirements, application process, and tuition fees. Then we shall end off the session with a live Q&A where we will answer all your questions. In the meantime, please drop your questions in the Q&A box as we go along. Matt will be answering these questions, and as we end, I'll go through the remaining questions for you. So let's get started. So before we head into the Q&A session with Rae, I would like Rae to introduce herself and her association with the University of London.
Hi, thank you, Ankit, and nice to meet all of you here this evening. My name's Rae Roberts. I am one of the careers consultants here working with the University of London. We have a careers service specifically to support our distance learning students, and that includes those of you who may choose to do Coursera programs. And what we do is we bring our background and our expertise, which is from a wide range of sectors. In my background, that involved being a charity CEO, where I certainly did lots of marketing work. And then we bring that expertise to the support that we provide for our students, which is what I'll be introducing you to as we talk through our Q&A now.
Absolutely, Rae. So as we head on to the first question from our learners, which is, for a learner pursuing a career in marketing, do you have any insights into the recent trends in the job market?
So we're seeing, trends in the job market in terms of job opportunities are varying according to different sectors and different locations in the world. So one of the amazing things about marketing is that you're able to do that in every sector, because every organization needs to communicate its purpose and its work in some way or another. So this gives you a real autonomy where you can look at what are the growth sectors, what are the areas that organizations are particularly interested in, and how can I find a marketing role within that kind of organization. So we're seeing a lot of growth and development still around tech and around the use of AI. And I think something that any marketing student in terms of thinking about career is looking at now is thinking about, how is AI going to be impacting the sector I'm going into, and how might I be using digital marketing technologies, and how might digital marketing technologies be going to change in the way that I'm going to work. Now, we, as the careers service, like to put on a lot of events to help you get insights into these different sectors and trends in the job market. So, for example, today, I was hosting a panel event about charities and NGOs. Now, you may or may not think about it as being a career option, but charities and NGOs all need to communicate their messages. So it's not marketing in terms of sales, but it's marketing in terms of, how do they get donations? How do they get people to support their causes? How do they communicate effectively the support that they're offering for whatever their purpose is? So we were talking to people within that sector today, and we talked to people in other sectors. For example, you can see an example around finance up on this slide as well. And what we're gaining an insight around from all of these conversations that we have with employers is that there's some key trends that all organizations in almost all sectors are concerned about at the moment. So one is about the AI revolution that's coming into play. One is about the climate crisis, or, and how the climate change is going to be impacting their sector. And we also have organizations very concerned about other factors around, for example, equality and inclusion in the way that they work. So what I would think from a marketing perspective is that with these organizations being increasingly concerned about those issues, the trend is they're looking for roles that are going to help them address it. How can people communicate effectively, for example, the sustainability values of the organization? And that's the kind of role that's increasingly being looked for and sought after by organizations when they're looking for marketing professionals.
That is amazing. I mean, that was really a great introduction to what the learners will be looking up to in the program. Amazing, Rae. So as we move on to the second question, which is, what are the different sectors a BSc marketing graduate could end up working in? Can you share some examples of what University of London graduates have gone on to achieve?
Sure. So I've touched on this already. The idea that actually, as a marketing graduate, you have every sector available to you if you want to do your marketing work. So what you want to start thinking about is, where does your passion and where do your values align? What products or organizations are you really supportive of? And therefore, where would you like to apply your marketing expertise, and where would you be a really good match? Because you'll have, from doing your qualification, you'll have really strong marketing skills and marketing knowledge, and you'll be most successful in finding a job in one that matches you as a person, as well as being maybe tactical about which organizations are in the location that you're in. So we have BSc marketing graduates working in the charity sector, like I've been talking about, but also working in the financial sector, working in social enterprises, working for consultancy companies, working for local authorities or governments. So any organization where they're thinking about, how do we communicate our purpose, you'll probably find we've got University of London graduates. And I think something that's useful to think about here is that the types of roles the marketing graduates may go into are not necessarily straight marketing roles. You can be using, if you think about marketing as being about communication, you might find that, we will have graduates who are helping write speeches, for example, or graduates who are helping write website material that isn't marketing material but is about communication, or people who are working in-house in internal communication teams, who are, for example, working for a university for a learning development team, communicating to the staff effectively about the training opportunities that are available for them. So we've got a real wide range. And one example I wanted to share was someone called Tando, who I've been working with. She's a marketing BSc marketing student that I've been working with over the past year, and we've been thinking about what skills are really important in marketing, and thinking in terms of that communication. And I know we'll talk about skills in a bit more, but she's been reflecting on her professional experience. And one of the things that she did is actually coordinated the Summit of African Leadership Transformation in 2022. So while that isn't directly a marketing role to do, it's a very impressive career step that she's taken, which has been about effectively communicating and effectively bringing together leaders within the African region, particularly with a kind of female empowerment perspective, to advocate together.
That is very impressive, I would say. I mean, you correctly put it there. And I mean, speaking about skills, we have the next question in line, which would help you complete the answer. So the next question is, what specific skills or competencies do employers seek from graduates with a BSc marketing degree?
Thank you. Yeah, so there's lots of skills that they want. But one that I was just going to mention there that I saved until now from Tando that we were talking about was emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence is about understanding your own emotions and finding strategies to manage your emotions and communicate your emotions. But it's also about understanding other people's emotions and how to effectively communicate and interact with those. Now, hopefully, as you've listened to me explaining that, you're starting to think, okay, I get why this might be in play when it comes to marketing. You wouldn't obviously think about it in the first place, but marketing is all about, and you can see some of these other skills up there, things like persuasion and negotiation. It's about communication. It's about effectively collaborating with people so you can make good decisions. And the thing that underpins all of those skills is actually this emotional intelligence, which is why Tando and I have been, and we've created a whole webinar all about it together, and I'll talk more about the webinars later on. Now, one other skill that I'm going to highlight from these 10 core employability skills here is digital skills. Now, I've mentioned it earlier, but marketing is a completely different landscape now to what it previously was. And within your future careers as future marketing graduates, it's going to be different again. So really keeping up to date with your digital skills and understanding how those digital skills are going to be disrupting the marketing environment is something that's going to be high priority. Now, we didn't just pick these skills out of thin air. We have conducted research globally around what employers think is most important, and that's why we have chosen these 10. And you'll find if you choose to study this course, you'll find that you'll have access to a huge amount of support from the University of London Careers Service to help you in developing these skills and help you understand the different ways in which you are already developing those skills as part of the studies that you will be doing with us.
Amazing. I mean, you correctly mentioned that, as a marketing professionals, what it was like, 10 to 15 years back has completely changed after, the digital era, I would say. Now, information or communication is the currency in marketing. Totally agreed with that point. So that takes us to the next question again, Rae. So how are online students supported in relation to career development during their studies? Can you continue to receive career support as graduates as well?
Absolutely. So there's a lot of support, and I'll go into that into detail about some of it in just a moment. But to be clear, all of the support that's available, you can have unlimited access to as a student, and it doesn't cost you anything. So we use some specialist platforms. We've paid the membership, you get the free access. That continues for 2 years after you graduate. So even if you've got too much going on and you can't find that job while you're studying, you can come back and have our help afterwards. So if we move on to the next slides, I'll talk through a few of the online supports that we've got in place. So I mentioned the sort of memberships that we pay for so you can access really useful digital tools. And some of these are AI tools designed by careers professionals to help you in your career development. So we know that you may be anywhere in the world, or you may be wanting to work anywhere in the world. So we have a resource called Going Global. And this gives profiles and insights, CV tips, and advertises jobs that are specifically in relation to the country that you might be interested in. It's got hundreds of different countries available there. We have something called eCareers Grad, which provides commercial case study interview guidance. So depending on if you're thinking about going into a consultancy route, that might be something helpful. We have something called Graduates First, and this helps you with recruitment processes. So things like psychometric tests, which if you're going for larger organizations, you may well find that you need to do them as part of the recruitment process. So this helps you practice and get top tips around that. An interview prep. Very rarely will you get a job without doing an interview. An interview prep is an opportunity for you to record yourself doing interviews and get feedback and evaluate your performance in that way. So it's a really good communication practice. If we move on to the next slide, I want to just highlight another resource that we've got, which is called Career Set. Now, this is a CV review tool. It's using some really clever AI in order for you to choose a job that you're wanting to apply for. And then you can actually score your CV specifically against that job, score your cover letter specifically against that job, and it will give you clear instructions of ways in which you can improve it to increase your chances for that particular role. So that's something that you would also have free access to through your University of London email address that you'd get when you become a student on the Coursera programme. And finally, if we go on to the third slide in this section, we have a couple online learning courses that you can do alongside the online learning that you'll be doing on your academic studies. So these are two micro modules. And in the micro modules, I think there is a slide with some images for these coming up. In these micro modules, they're things that you can do in your own time. They take maybe 10 hours or so of your own time to do, plus about 8 hours of work experience that you can do. So we have a career planning micro module. So for those of you who are thinking, I don't know how to get going in my career in marketing, this will help you think through all of those steps and help you put together an action plan so that you can really get to where you want to get. And we've got a professional impact profile and success micro module, which will help you think about those really core professional behaviors and how you can use them in relation to your particular career. And I think a lot of those are around influence and persuasion and emotional intelligence, all of which are really key to you as marketing students.
This sounds amazing, Rae. I mean, as we were discussing earlier, I wish I had all this much support when I did my bachelor's, honestly. And the micro module seems really very interesting and also helpful for all the learners who will be on board with the program.
Oh, and I would say, Ankit, I didn't mention, but with in case you weren't already sold on the micro modules, they do, once you complete them, they do get added onto your degree transcript as well. So it's an extra certificate. Can't say the word, an extra certification alongside your degree qualification. So it's really something else you can put on your CV.
That's really amazing. I mean, seriously, I mean, I guess and now I wish that I had all this support when I did my bachelor's, because the CV creator and the AI tool that is used for creating the CVs, that is really very helpful. I remember taking long hours to, curate everything and write down my CV. So this is all very helpful. Now, moving on to the next slide and the next question. It says, does the University of London have partnerships or collaborations with companies that might offer unique opportunities for students studying BSc marketing?
Sure. So I've talked earlier about the events that we put on. So we have those collaborations and partnerships with the employers that speak at those events. Now, while they aren't necessarily advertising jobs, many of them, the reason that they're wanting to put on that event with us is because they're interested in recruiting our students. So I would really recommend, if you do join the program, to come along to those events and network and connect with the employers that are speaking at them, because that's a great opportunity for you to really utilize the partnerships and the collaborations that we've got. There are also a couple of other things that we do have. So one is that we work with an organization called Forage, and we've got a particular iteration of Forage, particularly for our University of London students. And this is an option for you to do online internships with really top name, top brand employers. So you do this as an online virtual internship where you're gaining insight into how that company operates, and it culminates in something that you're able to put on your CV in the work experience section. We also collaborate really closely with something called the Bright Network, which again supports people to do remote and virtual internships. Because we know our students are all around the world, we really try to make sure that the opportunities that we're enabling are online. Now, the Bright Network has incredibly deep opportunities available with amazing high-profile organizations, not only in marketing roles, but in a lot of them will involve the communication skills. So I would really encourage you to think about those core employability skills. And so long as the opportunity you're doing is developing those skills, then you're going to be developing relevant skills and enabling yourself to have stronger chances of getting into a marketing role. So the Bright Network, for example, we provide extra training and extra support for our students to prepare their applications so that they have the best chances of being successful in getting a place on that. And I'm pleased to say that we do that very effectively. So actually, we have by far the largest number of students out of any university who manage to get on these internships with the Bright Network. So we will provide in a lot of support to help you get there.
This is again very amazing, because this is by far the most common question that I come across whenever I speak to learners who are interested in the program regarding, they want to understand the opportunities that they will get regarding the internships and everything. So this was really helpful. And the next question, which is my favorite question, by the way. So can you tell us about the Careers Connect? How does that benefit students?
Yeah, so Careers Connect is our online careers platform, and this is really your go-to place. So you can see there on the screen what it looks like. It's a really nice visual, user-friendly environment. On the top, you've got these 4 circles. Along the top, you've got events, and that's where you can book on to lots of different events, like the ones about the employers that I was talking about earlier, but also events that external employers are putting on. So back to the previous question about partnerships, we have employers contacting us all the time saying, we'd like to recruit University of London students. How can we get them there? So people are putting on, in their different organizations and companies, recruitment events, and we list them here on Careers Connect so that you can find them, and you'll then be able to register through that to attend them for whatever sector that you're interested in. And we also put on our own events that I'll talk about in a little while. We've got opportunities as a section here. So this also links to the previous question. This is a jobs board specifically targeted to represent jobs in a wide range of sectors across the globe. So wherever you are and whatever stage you might be in your career, you'll be able to find opportunities there. And you'll certainly find many marketing roles listed, and those are listed particularly by organizations who are really keen to recruit University of London students. And we also have pathways here, which are sort of mini online learning courses, not as big as a micro module, but something that you can work your way through, for example, to help further develop your interview technique or further develop your application form technique and that kind of thing. And then you can get links from Careers Connect to basically everything we do about careers. So this is your go-to place. You'll bookmark it when you join us.
This is why, this answers my question. My interest in this page, and this being my favorite, question among all. Amazing. Now, the next question that we have on board. Can you share more information on the career webinars that hosted by the University of London Career Services?
Yeah, absolutely. So they are listed on Careers Connect, so that's how people can book into them. What they are is a program of events that we run internally by myself and my colleagues as careers consultants, sharing our expertise. We run events in collaboration with students, with graduates from the University of London, and with employers. So you can see an example on the slide here of 1 month in the program, and this program runs all year round, 12 months a year. We've got almost every single week we'll have 1 or 2 or even 3 events running, so there'll always be something coming up that will be relevant for you. And we try to make a really comprehensive, wide range of events available. So I've talked about the employer events already. We've got, for example, I've talked about the digital tools that we've got there. So we run short sessions that help you understand how to use those tools most effectively, how to make the most out of them. I've talked about CVs and interviews. We have webinars that are live that you can do to develop your technique for those. And I've also mentioned the idea that you might be at different stages in your career. So some of you might be thinking about doing this qualification because you're wanting to really get started for your first job, while other people, you might be doing it as a bit of professional development because you're hoping to get a promotion, or you might be doing it because you're wanting to change your career a little bit as someone who's more experienced. So we have a career stage series where we offer webinars that are specifically targeted to whatever stage you feel that you're in. And we've got a really strong skills focus. So I've talked about skills already. And we don't want to just tell you what's important and then leave you to it. So we actually have online learning materials and live sessions that you can develop those skills in, and you can learn how to effectively present those skills in a recruitment process. So all of these webinars are online, they're on Zoom, just like we are now. And if you can't make them live, you can always catch up on recordings that are hosted in our virtual learning environment. And they're on at a range of different times of the day. So no matter where you are in the globe, you can come to them. I'm just going to finally mention one more, Ankit, which is Ask Your Careers Questions Live. So that is actually as good as what it says on it. What it is an opportunity for you to come in a group and ask an expert careers consultant absolutely anything that you might want some support with.
That is really nice. I mean, although it's an online program, but looking at the support that the students receive, I don't think they'll feel any time in the program that they are doing it online and they do not have someone to connect to. This is honestly very amazing. And the last question that we have from the learners for today's live Q&A session is, can you share some success stories of alumni from Royal Holloway School of Business and Management?
Yeah, so what I would just say here is that we have a lot of different alumni doing different things. And where we collate our success stories, and I'll pop the link straight into the chat box, is that we have something called Global Careers Calls, which is a podcast that everyone can access. So I'll just put it here, Careers podcast. And what you can do there is listen to episodes where you can get inspired by the stories from graduates, particularly maybe working in the sector that you're interested in or having studied the area that you're wanting to study. You can also join or follow us on our page on LinkedIn, and there you'll also find the other graduates, the alumni section that you can then filter through and see. So we find that as a really good way of bringing people together, because we really want you as University of London students, when you come and study with us, to be networking. It's not just about being inspired that you could become those people, but it's actually enabling you to have those conversations with those other successful people and network to help you get there.
Amazing, Rae. So that were all the questions from the learners we had for the Q&A session with you. But then before you go off, I would just like you to, explain or give any tips for the learners for this cohort who are interested in enrolling, or, at least going for the application process as of now.
Well, I think with any application, this is an application for a study program, but of course we talk about job applications all the time. And I think what's really important is for you to think about your motivation here. Take some time. What do you want to study? Why do you want to study it? And how does that fit in with your life story at the moment? And how does it relate to where you want to be going next? Because if you can be clear on how this course is going to fit into your strategic life objective, you're going to be more able to make the most of the learning content, of the surrounding support that we're offering, and you're going to be more likely to achieve that successful outcome in the end. And write a persuasive application too.
Absolutely. That was really amazing and very useful feedback. Thanks, Rae. Thanks for joining us for the Q&A session.
My pleasure.
Yeah. Now, we head on to the next topic, which is about the university. So the first thing that pops up in our heads while we, select a degree program is not just about the subject that we want to study. It is also about the university that we would like to study it from. The University of London was founded in 1836 and is one of the oldest and most prestigious universities in the UK. There are over 50,000 students in 180 plus countries studying 100 plus degrees, diplomas, and certificates. The program is led by academics at Royal Holloway's School of Business and Management, one of the 17 independent federation members of the University of London. Royal Holloway is ranked in the top 30 universities in the UK and the top 350 universities in the world for world-class research. This program has been designed to encourage intellectual curiosity. Whether you're currently working within the sector or seeking opportunities in a new field, This program provides a foundation for understanding the diverse interdisciplinary nature of marketing and business administration. If you're looking to work for an international company or crave the opportunity to be mobile during your career, this will be an invaluable learning experience for you. You'll walk away with an internationally recognized qualification and a global mindset as a result of studying across borders with colleagues from around the world. There are two cohorts every year. One starts in April and the next is in October. The next start date is on April 8th, 2024. Yeah. Now, as we move on to the next slide, we will understand the degree recognition of the program. So BSc in Marketing is standard bachelor's degree in the UK. The University of London holds the standards of this program to the same expectations as any other UK marketing degree. The marketing level and objectives are aligned with UK benchmarks. Your degree certificate will not mention Coursera or the fact that it was completed online. The University of London's understanding is that a UK degree is typically accepted for entering a master's program worldwide. But since some countries' education systems are slightly different, I'd recommend contacting the admissions department of the specific university you are interested in to see what requirements they have and if there is a grade you need to achieve on that particular program. If you require any additional documents for your application, you can contact the university for any assistance at all. Now, let's head on to the next slide and understand how you will be studying online. Yeah. So one, which will be comprised of 4 compulsory modules. The first module will be Foundations of Quantitative Methods for Sustainable Organizations. The second module will be Interpreting Management, Market, and Consumption. The third module, or the third compulsory module on your stage 1, would be Information Systems and Organization Studies. And the last module on your stage 1 is International Business and Accounting. Now, we'll look at the stage 2 modules. The stage 2, again, can we go on to the next slide? Yes. So on the stage 2, you'll have 4 compulsory modules again. The first module, or the first compulsory module, is Employability and Human Resource Management, which will introduce you, this module introduces career development and human resource management and covers a few main topics like skills and skill development using social networks in your job and internships, and etc. The second module on your stage 2 is Strategic Management and Accounting. The third module, or the third compulsory module on your stage 2, is Operations Management and Marketing Strategy. And the final module on your stage 2 is Marketing Research and Digital Consumer Culture. Now, as we move on to the stage 3, your stage 3 has 3 compulsory modules and 1 optional module. So the 3 compulsory modules that you'll be looking at is Integrating Management, Business, Leadership, and Innovation. The second module is Contemporary Issues in Consumer Behavior and Global Marketing. And the third module is Brands, Branding, and Advertising. Now, the most interesting part of the stage 3 is the optional modules. You will get 3 options to select from. We can see that on the next slide. Yeah, as you can see that there are 3 options for you to select from, and you just have to select one. So the first option is International Human Resource Management. The second is the Individual at Work and Globalization. And the last option for you to choose from is Emerging Markets and Asia Pacific Business. Now, let's look at a quick question we generally come across, and it's quite common that I've also faced whenever I'm speaking with any learner. It is, I haven't taken any online courses with Coursera before. Can you help me understand how it works? So, however, the program is delivered through Coursera, and I believe that most of you already have some experience with Coursera, but those who do not have any experience with Coursera, do not worry. It's very easy to figure out, and I'll walk you through the main points, and feel free to ask more questions about this during our live Q&A. Bachelor's in Marketing program is delivered entirely online through Coursera. You'll be able to access all materials needed for your studies at any time as long as you have internet connection. This means the most of the time you can study at your own pace. Each module is studied over 22 weeks, and one module requires an average of 10 to 12 hours of directed learning per week. Modules run once a year, and reset opportunities will be available as well. You can choose how many modules to study in each session, up to maximum of 2 new modules, or 3 including resets or repeats if any. The time commitment will vary from student to student, but as a guide, you should allow 300 hours for each module to be studied throughout a 22-week session. With 2 modules per session, you will be able to complete the degree in 3 years. This means you will be studying for 60 credits in each session. That equates to approximately 600 hours. Over the 22 weeks of each session, you will need need to dedicate for 2 modules around 24 to 30 hours per week to study. Now, lastly, you will also need to regularly check your university student portal. The student portal is a gateway to all your additional learning resources. There, you'll find the most up-to-date information, including registration dates, examination dates, as well as wonderful resources to support your development, such as well-being material, career development, exercises, and student support services. Now, as we head on to the next slide, to help you better understand how the learning process works on the Coursera platform, let me walk you through a sample course from the University of London. The program is designed to fit learners' personal schedules, allowing them to study online at their own pace and vary their course load every term. Learners can access their courses from anywhere by downloading them to their mobile device and study offline whenever and wherever they choose to. There is no live attendance required. Once you log into the Coursera platform, you'll see the courses you registered for on your dashboard, and you'll notice that the coursework is broken down into weeks. Each week will have pre-recorded video lectures, quizzes, and interactive activities. Learners watch pre-recorded video lectures and complete quizzes and assignments. There is a final exam at the end of each module. All coursework is self-paced except for midterms and final exam. Learners can find deadlines in the course syllabus. Learners can find their exam timetable in the student portal as well. The university provides learners with all the resources and study materials needed to complete the program successfully, including the essential reading for each module as well. Learners will access these resources through the virtual learning environment and Coursera. Students collaborate on group projects using Zoom and Slack, wherein Slack is a cloud-based instant messaging system. Well, you'll also get support from online tutors. Online tutors will hold live tutorial webinars and provide support and guidance throughout each study session. There would be also support from online student relationship managers who will guide you through your entire learning journey. And there will be also online library available at your disposal. This provides a range of full-text multidisciplinary databases where journals, articles, ebooks, and reports can be found. Now, as we move on to the next slide. Now, let's look at how assessments for this program work. The minimum duration of this program is 3 years, like I mentioned earlier, which is a standard length of bachelor's degree in the UK. But since this degree is flexible, you can vary your workload. The university gives you up to 6 years to complete all the required modules at your own pace. You'll have hard deadlines for some assessments and final exams, which will be highlighted in your syllabus you receive. Here, I would also like to mention that all assessments are online. Each module for marketing program is assessed by 2 elements of assessment. The first one comprises 4 multiple choice question tests taken at 5 weekly intervals throughout each 22-week study session. They will contribute 30% towards your final grade. The remaining 70% of your grade will come from the assessment element 2, which is a 3,000-word online examination held at the end of each session. That's around September and March. Also, some modules have group work where you need to work asynchronously with your peers, so please plan for that as well. You will receive plenty of support within this program. The virtual learning environment on the Coursera platform is where you'll find your lessons, activities, assignments, and additional study resources. You'll also have an opportunity to join online tutorials with the University of London professors who will provide you with support and guidance throughout each study session. Now, let's look at the next slide, which is regarding the application and admissions requirement. In order to qualify for your application, you must be age 17 or older on the registration deadline, which is March 18th, 2024. The University of London accepts qualification from all over the world. I encourage you to use the link that Matt is now going to share in the chat to review your country's qualifications. Please note that the University of London does accept many awards that are not listed on the website, such as non-listed school qualifications, diplomas, professional awards as well. Applications are now open and the deadline for application is March 4th, 2024. So make sure to do this as soon as possible. It can take the University of London up to 15 business days to process your application. The application fee for spring 2024 cohort is £60 only. And please be mindful that the 15 business days does not include the weekends. Now, to complete your application, you'll need a scanned copy of your personal identification. It can be your birth certificate, passport, or any national identification card. Scanned copies of your official academic transcripts, translated copies if needed. It can be signed and stamped by any official translator. Evidence of English proficiency, if English is not your first language, has to be provided as well. Matt is now going to share a link for the English language requirements that the university accepts. A supporting statement has to be also provided describing why you want to take this program. This will be your opportunity to showcase to the University of London why you wish to do this program. Please give your reasons. You should include details about your education, work experience, and current responsibilities, which are relevant to this application. It is recommended that you write between 100 to 250 words on your personal statement. A supporting statement describing why you want to do this program, like I mentioned, is going to be required along with your application. So whenever you start your application, it will be on the very first few pages. If you would like your employment to be considered as a part of your application, you may upload a CV or your resume, but that's completely optional as well. Now, let's move on to the next slide. This is how the application process looks like. First of all, you're welcome to book a meeting with us to discuss your application program and all the documents in more details. When you are ready to start your application, please go to the Coursera website and click on the blue Apply Now button, as you can see on the screen. Once you do so, the button will take you to the University of London's application page. The first question you'll be asked when you start your application is whether you want to apply for standard or performance-based entry. To understand which route is the best for you, make sure to check your country requirements by following the link we shared in the chat box earlier. If you satisfy those requirements, choose standard entry, otherwise choose performance-based entry. The difference between them is that if you get accepted into performance-based admission, you will need to complete one module with a weighted average of 40% or above before progressing onto the rest of the program. The application itself is pretty straightforward. Please prepare all the documents we spoke about in advance, and then it should take you more than 30 minutes to complete your application. Make sure to submit your application before March 4th. After submission, please check your email box regularly, as the University of London might ask for some additional information. You will then receive an email with their decision and further instruction. If you have any questions or concerns regarding the application, feel free to reach out to our enrollment services team at any stage of your application process. We'll be sharing a link to book a meeting with an enrollment counselor towards the end of this webinar. Now let's look at the next slide. So this is regarding the total program cost as it depicts. So the indicative totals for this bachelor's is £14,088 to £18,868, depending upon your geographical location, if you fall under Band A or Band B countries. Please note, tuition is based on where you're living currently and not based on your nationality. To understand which band you fall under, Matt will now share into the chat box a link from which you can refer to the bands that you fall under. On average, University of London fee incurs a 5% year-on-year increase, which are considered within the indicative totals that you see. Students can pay as they go into the program. What I mean is, for Band A countries, you'll be paying £1,113 per module, and for Band B country students, you'll be paying £1,482 per module. Totally depends upon how many modules you want to study per semester. Please also note that University of London offers a number of scholarships and bursaries for students. The best way to go about this is for you to check the university's website to see if there's anything that you may be eligible for. Matt will now share a link for financial aid options in the chat box. Please note that generally you can apply for scholarships or bursaries only after you've been accepted into the program. Now, let's look at the next question that we have is, what are the next steps after the application is accepted? Well, after you have completed your application and you receive an acceptance from the university, the next step would be registration. When you're ready to register for your modules, for which the deadline is March 18th, 2024, log into your student portal using the login details the university will email to you. Once you've logged into your student portal, click the Register Now button and you'll be able to see the modules that are offered in this session and register. You can study up to 2 new modules per session. In addition to this, you can reset assessments or repeat modules if necessary. It's strongly recommended you take foundations of quantitative methods for sustainable organizations and interpreting management, market, and consumption during your first term. To complete your registration, you need to pay for your modules. The total cost of the program depends upon your location. As we mentioned earlier, you can refer to the link shared earlier on the chat box so that you can check for yourself which country band you would fall under. If your country is in Band A, you have to pay £14,088, and for Band B, the learners will be paying £18,868. Also, I would like you to know that you do not have to pay these fees straight away. You pay as you go for each module you take, so the fees will be divided between the years of your studies. After you've registered and paid for your modules, you'll receive an invite to your university email address to link your Coursera account to the degree program. There you'll see an orientation course that you'll need to complete before classes begin. The course covers everything you need to know on how to start the program and to make best use of your studies step by step. It'll go over program policies, how to navigate Coursera, communication channels to seek help, and how to connect with other students. You should allow up to 6 hours to complete this course. Once you have completed that, you'll receive access to your modules when the teaching session begins on April 8, 2024. You'll have access to all your study materials at the start of the session, except for some assessments and final exams, which may be logged for a certain date and time. Now, it's time for our Q&A. If you have any questions about the program or application process, please put them in the Q&A box. We'll give you a few seconds to submit your questions. We do see a lot of thoughtful questions. We'll try to answer as many as possible in the time that we have left. Well, this is a really great question that I've come across. It says, what marketing foundations are taught in this program? Well, management and business study, business administration, sustainable business practices, digital marketing, organizational marketing, advertising, and branding. In level 4 of this program, you learn to evaluate theory, research, and practice within management. In level 5, you learn how to critically apply methodologies in analysis of management by learning key functions of marketing, including information systems, human resource management, accounting, and operations management as well. Then you'll move on to level 6, which allows learners to analyze real-life problems facing actual businesses and evaluate the effectiveness and limitations of different management attempts to solve them. Well, I have another question. Seems very interesting over here. Well, it says, what is the time commitment to be successful on this program? Well, you can expect to commit about 10 to 12 hours per week for one module that needs to be studied within a 22-week session. In order to complete the degree in 3 years, you need to take 2 modules per semester or per study session. So be mindful about committing close to 20, 24 hours per week on each semester if you want to study the program full time. The next question is there a graduation? Well, yes, students who successfully complete the program will be invited to the university's annual graduation ceremony in London, where learners graduate from University of London. They will receive 2 important documents by mail, final diploma and diploma supplement as well. Well, another question that we have over here is what will appear on the degree certificate? Your certificate will show that you have successfully completed the Bachelor of Science in Marketing program. It will also show that the awarding body is the University of London with academic direction provided by Royal Holloway, University of London. Another good question that we have come across, are there any networking opportunities? Yes, under the guidance of module leaders and online tutors, you'll be working with groups of fellow learners engaged in similar areas on the program. Let's look at a few other questions. The last question for the day would be, how quickly will I hear if I got accepted into this program? So it usually takes 5 to 15 business days for the university to respond back, depending upon the route you apply for and how close to the deadline you apply. If you do not hear back from the university within this time period, then feel free to contact them via the link that we'll share on the chat. Well, that is about it. Let's head on to the next slide then. And here you can find some key dates for spring 2024 cohort. We'll send out the recording of this webinar to you in your follow-up email, and you can schedule an appointment here. Well, Matt has just shared a link with you in the chat. You can book an appointment with Saddam, who will be your enrollment counselor for the program, and feel free to reach out to us. Well, thank you again for joining us. Thank you, Rae, for joining us today for the beautiful session. I hope the session helps all the learners. Bye.